Okay, here we're going to deal with international regulations for preventing collisions at sea, more commonly known as Colregs. It's kind of broken down into four basic parts, and I'm going to deal with each little section in short videos so that you can follow without having to sit through a whole half an hour of a video. So we're going to look at the rules of the road, the vessels and the lights and the day shapes. We're going to look at voyage, and we're going to look at sound signals. Okay, rules of the road. Basically, you first got to understand that there's a bit of a hierarchy in who has to give way. So we start off with power vessels give way to everything. Okay, sail vessels give way to fishing, constrained by draft, restricted ability to maneuver, and not under command. Fishing then gives way to the other three. Constrained by draft gives way to restricted ability to maneuver and not under command. There is an exception to this rule, which is any vessel overtaking must give way. So if I'm a power vessel and coming up behind me is a sailing vessel that's maybe going faster than me, the sailing vessel needs to give way and pass me on my starboard side. How do we determine a collision course? Basically, if the angle of bearing never changes, so we have a crossing situation and we see a vessel over, say, a stanchion, and if it stays in line with that stanchion all the time, we know that we're actually going to collide. So what do we need to do? If we're the give way vessel, we need to do it early and obvious action. It doesn't help to do small little turns. We need to make it very clear that we've seen that other vessel and we give way. Okay, so who gives way to who? Okay, we have two power vessels approaching in a head-on situation. So both vessels must give way and we pass port to port as the arrows go. So this vessel over here will turn to starboard and this vessel over here will turn to its starboard, and we will then pass port to port. If we had a crossing situation with two power vessels, okay, so who gives way here? Well, this vessel sees red. In other words, they see danger. They're seeing a vessel in their, well, actually it's more like that, their starboard quarter. So they must give way and off they go behind the other vessel. Okay. When we have sailing vessels, so both these vessels are on the same tack. So how do we determine the tack? The wind is coming over the port rail of both vessels, which means they're on a port tack. And in this situation, the windward boat, which is closer to the wind, must give way. These could have both been on a starboard tack with the wind coming over that rail. So they would have both been on the same tack and would have both needed to give way. Okay, what do we do if we're on opposite tacks? So here we have a vessel on a port tack, and here we have a vessel on a starboard tack. Okay, so if you remember if you listen to some racing, you'll always hear the guys shouting starboard, starboard. They're claiming the status of stand on. So this vessel would stand on, and this vessel on a port tack would need to give way. Okay, I hope that helps. I'm going to carry on with another video shortly after this to cover the next step.